Hey ladies and gents, welcome back. This is going to be part 3 to What If Naruto Was a Vampire? With that being said, make sure to check out my Discord. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Also make sure to like and subscribe. There's not going to be a like on this video, but it's just a nice thing to do, because, yeah. Anyway, let's do a brief recap of what actually happened in the last part, before getting into the new material of the What If. Basically, last part, Naruto killed Zabuza. He bit him, and Naruto found out one of his weird powers that Naruto for some reason gained is that he can seem to control things. He doesn't know exactly why, but he seems to be able to bend nature to his will. Nobody really knows how Zabuza died. He just was all of a sudden dead after Naruto gave him the order of just saying, "Die!" when he was biting him. He doesn't know why this is happening, but later on Naruto would test this on different animals and find out that he can give people basically any order he wants them to after biting them, and they basically have to fulfill his wish. He doesn't know exactly why this is happening, and he's kind of confused by it, but he goes along with it. So, they'd return to the village after basically, doing the bridge mission, and Kakashi, after a certain period of time, would recommend them for the Chunin exams, with them doing the written part and everybody passing pretty easily. That being said, let's get into the new material of the What If. So with the Chunin exam starting, everybody would run into the woods. However, there's a little bit of a difference, with Naruto not really having to drink all too much, just having to drink blood once a week or something along those lines. He basically doesn't have to pee. So that doesn't really happen with Sasuke giving Naruto the code and Naruto going to go to the bathroom. That doesn't happen because Naruto doesn't really have to, do that all too often. So it's pretty unlikely that one time Naruto happened to, drink in the week, he would have to go to the bathroom. So that doesn't really make sense. So we're going to have to figure out some kind of different way for Orochimaru to come in, which I feel like he wouldn't try to find some secretive way to do it, because he's really strong. He thinks he's really strong, so he doesn't really think that he needs to go in with some secretive way. So after some time would pass and everybody, is kind of bored at this point. They haven't found a team in a while, and they're getting a little bored. And Orochimaru would jump in and he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give you a curse mark, Sasuke." So he tries to do that. He'd start he has a stretchy neck thing, and he'd start trying to go over and try to bite Sasuke, with Naruto realizing something. Maybe he's a vampire too. Maybe he has this power. He immediately stops Orochimaru from doing anything. He grabs his neck and he's about to go bite down, but Orochimaru basically stops him by what is it even called when Orochimaru yeets himself out of his own body? It's such a weird thing. So Naruto bites Orochimaru's basically lifeless corpse, and he can't give him any orders or anything like that. And Orochimaru's like, "Why did I suddenly get an amount of fear when he was about to bite me? That doesn't make sense." And he's looking at Naruto now. He looks at his white hair and his blood-red eyes, and he realizes it. He's a vampire. He knew that he shouldn't have let him bite him, but now it basically brings a whole new meaning to that. Because he doesn't know exactly what would happen if Naruto bit him. He doesn't know what would happen. And he realizes something. Maybe if Naruto bit him, it would turn him into a vampire. And Orochimaru, he would be immortal. He's realizing this, and he's like, interesting. He walks up to Naruto now. He's like, "I want you to turn me into a vampire." Naruto looks at him. He's like, "What? What do you mean? I don't know if I can even do that." Orochimaru's like, "Just try biting me." And Naruto walks up to him. He's like, "What do you mean just try biting me? I could kill you if I do that." And Orochimaru's like, "No, you can't. Bite doesn't kill me." Naruto looks at him. It's like, "Okay, fine." Reaching out, he bites Orochimaru's neck. He gives him an order: become a vampire. It actually works. As Orochimaru's hair starts morphing, it turns to a nice white color before his eyes start morphing it once again and turning to a red. He didn't know he could do that. He didn't know he could give anybody literally any order. He thinks, could he turn somebody into a girl? He's not going, I don't know why I decided to say that, but anyway. So Naruto turns Orochimaru into a vampire, with Orochimaru looking at himself, looking at his hands. He's a little bit more pale, even though he was already fucking albino before. And he's just looking at himself, and he feels it. His strength, it's increased. Everything is increased. He even seemed to lean down a little bit. Did Did he somehow get a little bit younger? He doesn't know exactly what's happening, but he's really excited. He's so happy. He looks at Naruto, giving him a really big smile, and he's just like, you know what? I'm not going to give your friend a curse mark, because that would be bad for him. And I guess I'm kind of in your debt, too, because he's really thankful for Naruto, because now he's not only immortal, but he's more proficient with a lot of different things. He's obviously not like the hybrid that Naruto is. He's one of the two, so he's not going to be nearly as OP as Naruto, but he's immortal now, and he's like, yes, this is perfect. This is just what I wanted. So he ends up leaving, and he basically says he's not going to actually attack the Leaf Village, at least not today, now that Naruto basically gave him immortality. That's exactly what Orochimaru was fighting for. That's the main reason that he wanted that was his big ambition, that he wanted to become immortal so he can learn everything. But now he is. He doesn't need to go kill heroes, and he doesn't need to destroy the Leaf Village. He doesn't need to do these things. So, calling off the attack. So, that kind of just happens. Sasuke doesn't actually end up getting a curse mark, and everybody's a little bit confused, with all of them just going to the end of the Chunin exams. They find another team, they pretty easily take them down, and they happen to have the right scroll. They end up finishing the Chunin exams a little bit faster than they would in the original. Not nearly as fast as somebody like Gaara or anybody like that, but much faster than they would originally. They walk through, and they get to the actual, little building that they're supposed to be going to. They sit down. They start talking about what happened, and Naruto's like, yeah, I'm a vampire. Nobody really knew that before, because Naruto hasn't really told anybody. He never really saw a reason to. He's not necessarily hiding it, but he doesn't really see a reason to tell them. So they're like, oh, so Sasuke is looking and he's like, can I be a vampire? And Naruto just looks at me. He's like, no, you're not going to be a fucking vampire. Like, no, no, I just did it to Orochimaru so we'd leave you alone. So Naruto's like, yeah, no, how about not, chief? Anyway, Naruto would continue on with his life. And eventually the next part of the Chunin exams would start. The, kind of like the preliminaries of the actual, battle part of it. Like the prelim rounds of the tournament, however you actually want to put it. That would actually begin with Naruto, obviously being much more powerful than Kiba. Come on, let's be honest here. Naruto wouldn't have to do anything. He wouldn't even have to pull out his bite. He just has to give him a little bit of a chop. So their fight would start. Kiba would be like, Naruto, I'm gonna become the Hokage. Naruto's like, you think I fucking care what you want to do? Before charging across. And Kiba isn't really able to react. He tries to block Naruto's attack, but he's completely unable to. Because of how much faster Naruto is than him. So, single chop, Kiba gets knocked to the floor, with everybody like, oh, that kid's kind of strong, damn. Everybody's looking at his test scores, too. He's like, oh, he's really smart, too. Wonder how his leadership skills are. Basically thinking, this kid should already be a Chunin, maybe a Jonin at that point. Like, how is he so strong? They don't see how it really adds up anymore. Anyway, the Sasuke would fight the chakra-absorbing guy. He'd win. Easier. A lot easier than he would in the original. Sakura would still end up fighting Ino. They would come to the draw with the most epic anime battle ever, because, come on. You couldn't get better than that. That was, the best fight ever. Nothing better exists. Come on, let's be honest here. Anyway, so now the little gap between the Chunin exams and the finals of the Chunin exams would actually begin. And Naruto would just be training with this ability, and more so with his bite than anything else. Just wondering what exactly it does. How is that even possible? Why does his freaking bite just allow him to completely control people, even if they're just dead? He doesn't know how they die. They just do. He doesn't know exactly what's happening. He's really confused by it. Naruto would train with it, trying to figure out exactly how it works. Then he realizes it. After biting somebody, and, doing that, or not somebody, sorry, biting some kind of creature, he notices it. As Naruto bites them and gives them the death command, a little bit of a red, sparkle would actually come off of them, and would kind of enter into Naruto's body, and realizes it. He's just absorbing their life force, and Naruto feels himself get a tiny bit stronger every time he does it. Then he remembers, back to when he was fighting Zabuza, he did feel a lot stronger after that fight. So the stronger the person, the more Naruto gains from, absorbing their life force after biting them. He realizes this, and he's like, if only I could do that without actually killing them. Like, if he could, drain them to the point where they'd be able to recover it, Naruto would become, literally, he could get infinitely stronger. Nobody would be able to stop him in any way, shape, or form. They would just immediately die the second they came across Naruto. He realizes this, and he's like, oh, interesting. He's pretty excited by this idea that he just got. What if he just says drain when he's trying to bite them? What if he says, drain 90% or something like that? He tries it. Going up to another creature, he says drain 90%. The creature becomes much more frail, much more fragile, but it's still alive. Naruto realizes this, and he's like, yes, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need. The animal walks away, going a lot slower than it was before, but weeks later, Naruto would see the animal once again, now with a little bit more meat on its bones, and now Naruto realizes it. This is literally the perfect plan. He can get infinitely stronger like this, literally infinitely stronger, and he doesn't have to kill people by doing it. He can bite somebody really strong and say drain 10%, and they wouldn't really notice the difference, but Naruto would get stronger from it. He realizes this, and knows what he has to do. Later on, the Chunin exams would actually start, with Naruto taking a pretty decent amount of time to figure out how that ability worked, and figure out that he can do percentages too, say he wants to. He doesn't know how this works, but he's pretty excited. He's pretty excited by this whole percentage thing, now that he figured out that he can actually do that. Naruto, at this point, would actually enter the, finals of the actual battles, the finals of the, tournament, I guess you could say, with him fighting Neji. Neji would get almost immediately absolutely butt-fucked. With Naruto, over that entire time training, he was absorbing the life force of different animals, different things like that, making himself stronger and stronger. Even before that happened, he would have been able to defeat Neji easily, but now, it's way too easy. It's too easy for him to actually be able to do so. He overpowers Neji's rotation with a single punch, he literally just punches straight through it, and then throwing a left hook at him, Neji gets sent flying across the frickin' Chunin exams, getting sent into a nearby wall. As he falls down, there's a little blood stain on the wall in the crater that he made against it, and he falls down unconscious. Not dead, just unconscious. Naruto, damn. he couldn't have done that before. He could have done something similar, but not to that insane extent. He was barely using any of his power with that punch. Notices this, and he's pretty excited by that fact. Sasuke would still end up trying to fight Gaara. That would go pretty much the same, except he wouldn't be as strong as he was originally because he doesn't actually have the curse mark sealed away. So, Sasuke would get pretty easily defeated, faster than normal actually. But there's a little bit of a change. Gaara doesn't get as excited by the fight. He doesn't get to his partially transformed state. So, the finals would actually happen. The finals between Naruto and Gaara. With Naruto, for the first time, actually, paying any attention to Gaara, because Gaara's, he doesn't seem like he's that strong to Naruto, but Gaara's been paying a lot of attention to Naruto. He realized it. He knew exactly what Naruto was. Naruto was a vampire. He knew this. So, Gaara would start this fight off. He'd be pretty excited by this fact, with him actually trying to fight Naruto now. But it wouldn't really go well. Not well at all in his favor. He would be getting pummeled around. But Gaara would start getting angry, and he'd enter his partially transformed state. With him entering that, he gains a little bit of an edge, but it's not, or he gains a little bit of a power boost, but it's not anywhere near enough. Finally, as the fight continues on, Gaara fully transforms, transforming fully into Shukaku the Two-Tails. Naruto looking up at the massive creature in front of him. He bites it. Or he bites down on Shukaku's leg. As a little bit of sand falls down, Shukaku stops moving altogether. Before looking down at Naruto, its eyes a different color of red now. Looks down at him and he says, "I'm awaiting a command, master." Naruto looks up and he's like, "Yes." Naruto simply said the words, "Become my pet," as he bit. Now, Shukaku is Naruto's pet. Maybe Gaara would be too. Naruto gives Shukaku the order. Go back to basically your human form, I guess you could say, or, recede, or however you want to put it. Gaara gets back and he's unconscious there on the floor because he used that, he's been knocked out at this point. With that happening, Naruto notices this and he wonders. He bites down on Gaara's leg and he tells him to wake up. Gaara waking up, he looks around. Naruto notices almost immediately that Gaara is not completely under his command, it's just Shukaku. Realizing this, he bites Gaara once again and says, "Become my pet," knowing that this would be a really useful command. So, Gaara basically becomes Naruto's pet, but Naruto tells him, "Go back to your normal ways. He has some plans for you in the future." Gaara would obviously have to accept this, knowing that he literally can't. So, Naruto would completely have Gaara and Shukaku under his control if he wanted them to be doing anything. Realizing this, he remembers back to when he bit Orochimaru, and he realizes that he should have said that too. Should have had Orochimaru under his control. But he can do that in the future. It doesn't really matter all too much. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave this part off. See you guys in the next part. Peace out. Bye. Yeah, Naruto is not going to become overpowered in this What If. He's just going to become... He's almost as OP as his normal self, right? He's not that strong.